So, firstly, introduce yourself, name, age.
Hi, I'm Deeta. I'm going to 12th grade and I'm 16.
Hi, I'm Keren. I'm going to be a senior and I'm 17 years old.
Hi, I'm Anusha. I'm a freshman in college and I'm 18 years old.
Hi, I'm Deeya. I'm a freshman in college and I'm 18 years old.
Do you support the overturning of Roe v. Wade? Why or why not?
Absolutely not.
No, I don't support the overturning of Roe v. Wade.
I don't support the overturning of Roe v. Wade.
I do not support the overturning of Roe v. Wade.
Because I don't think there can be one blanket statement that the government can just be like, oh, it's banned, oh, it's not banned. And I don't think anyone has the power or right to do that.
Because it just dictates what women can do with their bodies, and that often puts them in really uncomfortable, dangerous situations.
Just because Roe v. Wade was such a big precedent that was set, talking about privacy rights and such, and also giving autonomy to women and just people in general in America, and taking that right away threatens so much of what women can do in our society now.
Because not only is it incredibly wrong and unconstitutional, it also puts so many other rights at risk.
Why do you support abortion?
Okay, I think abortion should be legal for so many reasons. So to begin with, it's a woman's body. A woman deserves the right to make choices for her own body. And it's not only women, like anyone of any gender or that is trying to they should be allowed to have that own choice over their body. And when people are out here like protesting and fighting and arguing for having, it's my body, it's my choice, I shouldn't be able to wear a mask, like I don't want to wear a mask. If people should have bodily autonomy for wearing a mask on their face to protect everyone from a virus, like why should women not have bodily autonomy over literal like deciding whether they're going to give birth or not? Like that makes no sense.
I am pro-choice, so whatever the woman decides is best for her in her life.
It makes no sense that someone who's a rape victim should not be allowed to have an abortion, because obviously that's such a traumatic experience. They don't need to be living with the constant reminder of that every day.
Making abortions illegal doesn't stop abortions, it just makes abortions illegal, which means people are taking like unsafe measures to get these abortions because like they might, like I saw this TikTok the other day that was so messed up. It was like this TikTok with this girl and she had like tips like in front on the screen, and it was like and like she made it sound like it was like skincare tips, and she was like yeah, like you can just drink a lot or smoke a lot of pot and yeah, just like get really like up and yeah, like automatically like you could like kill the baby that way. And like that's just so wild to me. And the fact that women have to like resort to those methods of like just casually dropping like really unsafe like practices to get rid of a baby is so messed up.
So I think there's a lot of misconceptions around abortion. For me personally, it's less about arguing that it's against God's will or that's an invasive medical procedure or whatever, because I don't think it's invasive, first of all, but I think it's more of the fact that taking the right of abortion away restricts the fact that women can't do what they want with their body. To me, abortion is just like any other medical procedure. People have, like, men have vasectomies. People have different medical procedures all the time. I mean, everyone has cancer, and there aren't restrictions against that. And so, just the fact that like the vagina is involved and that there are children involved, I don't think that necessarily makes it any different, and that there should be different laws that apply to it.
Rich people can easily get in a plane, travel to another place, move to another place and get an abortion. And I'm sure they have personal doctors, personal healthcare, private healthcare that they can use to completely hide the fact that they ever got an abortion, so they'll never be prosecuted. But this mainly affects like women of color and poor people, because like people of lower income or people of color like don't have like the ability to get like private healthcare, don't have the ability to travel that quickly, so they're stuck where they are and they're gonna have a harder time accessing good healthcare. So in the end, it's literally like most things, it doesn't affect the rich.
How does it make you feel about how America has set up the system, how America is going and what precedent it sets for other cases like Griswold, Lawrence, etc.
Well, for starters, talking about like the justices, like 3 of them were appointed by Trump, and it goes to end like the fact that they lost popular vote says a lot about how like we don't have a say. Like people are like, yeah, go out and vote, but like we don't have a say.
Definitely not. I'm super scared. Not only because it's against what I believe in, but it just opens up so many avenues to like you said, the issue with like same-sex marriage, and that just like infringes on like proper human rights, which I just don't think should be a point of contention at all.
I think the biggest alarming thing is the fact that majority of US doesn't support the overturning of Roe v. Wade, and that worries me because that means that this decision that they've made isn't representative of what everyone wants, which means that when they are going to be looking at other landmark cases like same-sex marriage and contraceptives and such, they're not going to be getting the popular vote and popular support either. For me personally, it's even scarier because since I do like women, the fact that I might not even be able to marry a woman in the future and that marriage won't be considered legal in a state that I live in is just really scary.
Not at all. I don't feel secure at all in how America is going. It's actually like, it makes me anxious because it's like we're going backwards in time, and I'm worried about like what's gonna be next. How is like life gonna be in the future?
You look at presidents like Donald J. Trump, and also I believe it's the older Bush or the younger Bush, one of the Bushes. Originally, they were in support of abortion and they were pro-choice, but as soon as they were indoctrinated by the Republican Party, their stance changed to pro-life because they were being pressured by the Catholic Church. They were being pressured by the people around them because they were representing the Republican Party. If you look at Reagan too, actually, when he was the governor of California, he signed laws that were pro-choice. As soon as he became president, though, his laws were becoming more conservative and he took a stance against abortion. So it's the fact that these topics that really affect so many women, so many like non-binary people and everything, they're being handled kind of like a joke and more of like just grabbing by parties instead of what people actually think about them.
How does this change your view of the Supreme Court?
Man, I'll f with them.
I think it's even crazier that we look at it now because to me it feels like the judicial branch is the strongest just because they can be appointed for lifetime and they can make decisions that will affect all citizens and people that live in America.
I'm just like angry because if the Supreme Court's like they're like, let's say their actual priority is like like keeping kids safe, keeping the next generation like safe, like let's say that's their priority, like then why aren't they doing anything on like gun control? Because that's like they have not done nearly anything or enough on that. And like if they truly do care about the future generations, like that's where their priority should be, not something like this.
A majority of the justices were elected by presidents that didn't even win the popular vote. This just goes back to the fact that the Republican Party is winning positions in the government by loopholes and by certain strategies that don't necessarily reflect what the majority of people in America want. Like you said, the popular vote has been going to the Democratic Party for almost 30 years now. And so it's just the fact that it's less about antagonizing the Republican Party, but more of looking at the system that we've created and realizing this system just isn't working for America anymore, and finding a way to rethink a new structure, which yes, will be difficult, but I think that's what needs to be done.
Do you support packing the court?
I support packing the court because, one, the court isn't really representative of, I don't know, the United States population, which is overwhelmingly Democratic, with a lot of progressive ideals.
I do not support packing the court just because it can be taken advantage of by both parties, as liberals, of course, we're going to support packing the court right now to 13 justices just so we can get the majority for the Democratic side. But I mean, if you keep packing the court, then the Republicans will answer back with adding more justices, and it will go back and forth. And as soon as the Republicans take majority and take a higher majority, then that's even scarier. Vice versa for Democrats too. So I don't think packing the court is necessarily the solution. It's more of reevaluating how we appoint these justices. If you look at when Neil Gorsuch was appointed, Republicans just made up a crazy precedent that you cannot appoint justices when it's towards the end of your term, because Obama was supposed to appoint a justice. And so it's just these like stupid loopholes that exist that both parties are making up, because again, Democrats are not completely innocent either, right? And so just figuring out how to close these loopholes and make sure that the system is being reformed.
I don't know what that'll do, because like in a society in a government that's like obviously so like corrupt, what if we add 2 more justices that are also like terrible people, like who literally should die, like like there's no guarantee that the next 2 people we add will be good people.
But before that, before Nixon, there was a huge wave of liberalism in the court. And it was really crazy because a lot of justices that were elected that were originally thought to be more conservative were then leaning more liberal on certain ideals, not because they were associated by a certain party, but because they were voicing opinions that they personally believed in. And I think that's what is important, and that's what needs to be reminded of.
Yeah, the Warren Court.
Yes, the Warren Court.
Who do you hold accountable for this? Who should your anger be directed at?
I guess like Supreme Court, right, for doing this. The people who instated the way the Supreme Court is run, because it's just outdated. It doesn't make sense. Like 9 people for the whole population of the U.S., right? The way checks and balances are, because it's not.
So the founding fathers.
Founding fathers.
That's what you're saying.
Like, I just feel like America's just not as great as everyone says it is. Like,
I don't think there's a specific group that we can target to kind of hold accountable, because it's all of these little groups like combined that like make today like what it is.
So okay, really where I think the blame lies is who we start voting for locally, because then when you start voting locally, it just keeps going up and up. So the people who are state legislatures, right, they're the ones that figure out how you're going to be gerrymandering and setting districts up. Based on those districts, then the electors are chosen. Based on that, then that's how a president votes, and that's how they rally depending on swing states and stuff. And then based off of all of that, and then they create stances and such, right? And then after that, they choose their justices. So it's kind of like a rolling snowball, kind of. And so what I'm trying to say is that a lot of people kind of just pay attention to national elections and the national body, but I think it's really important to start looking at stuff locally and statewide as well. And the Republicans always believe that more power should be given to the states, which means that if you choose your statewide legislation properly, then you can be protecting your rights that way.
And then my last question is, who is your least favorite justice?
Oh, dude, the woman, bro. No. It's so wild to me, because like, how are you gonna be a woman and not support women's rights?
So, least favorite justice, I'm gonna go with Kavanaugh, just because of all the sexual misconduct controversy that surrounded him. I know that controversy extended to Clarence Thomas as well, but specifically with Kavanaugh, I think electing someone that has a past like this is just enabling this poor behavior and saying that, yes, this person did this, but they're qualified because blah, blah, blah. And I just don't think that's reason enough to elect someone to such a high position because you're saying that this stuff is okay. And to me, it's not. So, Kavanaugh.
that Amy Coney. I always hear that name, and whenever I see bad stuff about justices, it's always that lady. It's like disappointing that it's a woman who did that, and it's like, you know, like,
Yeah.
I don't know why your headspace is like that, like where your priorities lie. But yeah, I'd say her.
Gaming coming bear.
Also, I do think Supreme Court, if they need to focus less on abortion and more on proper sex education and like better birth control options, because like there's on your menstrual cycle there are periods when it's low to like extremely unlikely periods you can get pregnant, and schools don't talk about that. Like they just talk about like protection and all that sort of stuff and STDs, but there is no proper education on things we need to know, because they're just like, yeah, don't have sex, like, but it's like we're high schoolers, like everyone has sex now, and it's like they're not doing the proper education that's needed. And if they truly don't, if they want to like really prevent abortions, they need to do a better job on sex education and that sort of stuff, and keeping people safe in general. Yeah.
I would like to say that midterms are coming up November 8th. So if you are registered to vote, if you're 18 years old, please, please, please vote. It's really important that we get our voices heard statewide, just because that will, you know, I said again before, snowball into nation change. And I just think that it's really important that we start getting more involved in politics, because yes, it's scary, but it really affects all of us.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks, Karen.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, Anusha.
Thank you.
Thanks, you. Thanks, Deeta.